Hello, good people. This is the Switch Pivot or Quit podcast, and I'm your host, Ayana Angel. And you're listening to what I like to call our good, comfortable space, right? Our space where we can get real about our challenges, about our switch, pivot, or quits, about our transitions, and all those things. And I like to bring you people who will also get real about their transitions. And so today we're going to be talking to the lovely Ty Alexander, who is a best-selling author, speaker, podcaster, wellness blogger, DJ. And she's your wellness hype girl, teaching you how to choose gratitude over grief. That's one of her lines. You know, I stole that from her. In her writings and teaching, she blends radical honesty and stories with actionable aha lessons. And in 2010, she created the wildly popular blog Gorgeous and Gray. Since then, she's become a leading authority in lifestyle, beauty, and wellness related content. As I mentioned, she's also a fellow podcaster hosting the Self-Care in Real Life IRL podcast, where she explores strategies and ideas for becoming your best self through active healing. So, Ty, welcome to the Switch Pivot Quit podcast.
I was waiting for you to say, welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party. That's your
And I
line.
was like,
That's your
wait,
line.
that's my line. My bad.
I'm not gonna steal it. But I love it. I love your energy that you bring to all the platforms that you show up on. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today, because your energy, people can feel it through the screen. It just feels very welcoming to your people. And I want to know, how do you feel you come off online?
I'm off the way I am in person. Like when I'm on, and when I'm off. Like I think my community knows, like when I'm off, they're like, oh, you okay today? Like I get lots of, which is warm and welcoming, right? Like I get lots of, are you okay today, Ty? How you feeling today? How's your heart? Because just as happy as I can be on the internet, like the energy is up. When the energy's down, it can you can immediately see it. I don't have a poker face. I don't have a poker heart or whatever. And so every emotion, everything that I go through, it just comes out. Like I am as probably one of the most vulnerable people that I know that you'll ever meet. And so whenever something is good, bad, and different, it's going to come off on the internet, on the camera. And I'm going to lay it out for you.
Vulnerability. How did you start leaning into your vulnerability? What did that look like?
Honestly, for me, it was after my mom died. Like I didn't know any other way to exist in my grief without being vulnerable. Like I could feel the grief like smothering me, if that makes it. Like I could feel it like closing in on me and like making me smaller and like taking up every space that I entered. And so I was like, how do I get above grief, right? Like I know that grief is in me, it's with me. Like to love is to lose, right? And so there's nothing that I can do about the grief. It's not going to ever go away. So my thought process is, what can I do to get above it? And my thought was, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna lay it all on the line every single time I come outside, every single time I wake up. If I don't feel good, I don't feel good. And that's just it. If I feel amazing, I'm also equally gonna shout that out and shout that loud. Like if I'm having an amazing day, if I'm joyful, if something is loud, or I'm sorry, if something makes me laugh, I'm gonna be loud about it. I'm gonna laugh loud about it. You know what I mean? And so both of those live equal. Joy and sorrow live equally in me, and that's how I exist. And so with that comes vulnerability.
Is there anything that you think people can stand to learn from using maybe vulnerability as a tool for themselves?
Oh, everything. I think being vulnerable with yourself, first and foremost. Like even if you don't have the courage to get on the internet and say all the things that I say, or anybody else for that matter, I have lots. You can talk about Tabitha or Brene Brown. Like there's lots of examples of people being vulnerable on the internet, right? But even if you can't be vulnerable on the internet, as long as you're being vulnerable with yourself, like if you can wake up with yourself and say, I'm not feeling good today. Let me make some different choices so I can create joy or find joy or be happy, right? Like once you learn that all of those things are simply choices. Like when I get up in the morning and I feel sorrow, I immediately think to myself like, wow, if I can just figure out how, or those things that are going to make me happy and let me do that, then my day immediately starts to turn around, right? Like it's one simple choice. But the minute that I allow sorrow to seep in and I give it attention and I say, oh my God, I'm so sad today and I don't want to do anything. And da, 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 da. If I spend too long in that darkness, the day is gone. When literally I could have just made one simple decision, right?
Absolutely. So when you show up in front of people in real life, IRL, right? Because people see you all the time online, but when you're mixing and mingling with people outside, and people ask you, "What do you do?" that don't know you, right? How do you answer that question? How do you kind of break down for people what do you do? Because you are a multi-hyphenate. So how do you answer that question? Let's have your elevator spiel. No.
First of all, I'm bad at that, so let's not. We're not going to do that. But it's funny because when I am DJing, I'm working on like being an MC in addition to a DJ. So a lot of the times I'll say, my name is Ty Alexander, and if you don't know my name, today I'm a DJ for you. I do a lot of things, but today I'm a DJ for you because that is literally the day that I'm DJing. But tomorrow I could be doing the wellness podcast. Tomorrow I could be on TV. Like, I do lots of things. And so I tell people, it's funny because I was talking to my accountant and she was like, well, what do you do? And I was like, I'm naming down all the things that I do. And she was like, I'm going to put entertainer. And I said, I like entertainer. That fits very well. I'm an entertainer. And so I just run down the gamut of things that I do. I start with, I'm a serial hyphenate and I do, DJing. I'm a podcaster. I do, beauty and wellness, lifestyle content. I do anything. And I like to think that I am an early adapter of things, right? Like, so when Threads came out, I'm gonna bust my behind to get over there to figure out how it works so I can get on there and be one of the first and grow my followers. It's just in me. As an influencer, as a content creator, I'm gonna be an early adapter of all the things. I'm on TikTok. I'm doing the things on TikTok. And so yeah, it's just it can get hard. I'll confess and say sometimes I often struggle with that because I sometimes feel like, well, if I did one thing, right, like how successful would I be? Like if I were only in this one lane. But at the end of the day, I'm an entertainer and I entertain you in different ways, which is why I say, I'm here to teach you how to choose joy. I'm here to teach you how to choose gratitude. I'm here to teach you all of those things. And that comes by DJing, by podcasting, by talking about how to do my hair, by talking about how to do my makeup. Like it comes in different forms.
It's just like it feels like the creativity is in you. It has to come out, and it has to come out in different ways because you're multifaceted. And if you didn't let it out, then you probably wouldn't be leaning into that authenticity. You would be a version of yourself that's probably stifled a little bit. Do you have any words or any thoughts for people who are feeling like that version of themselves that may be stifled right now because they are not doing all the things? They're not even trying a fraction of the things that they would want to do, maybe. Do you have any words?
It's really simple. It's try all the things, which was literally one of the very last things that my mom said to me before she passed away. And she died at 57, not checking off half of the things that she had done. And it's crazy because we think that 57, at least I did, right? Like I thought like 57 is a long time. But as I creep, because I'm 47 now, as I creep up to 50, I'm like, I have so much more to learn, to give, to do. And so by my mom, not being here or losing life early, it just taught me that like you have until the end of your life to try something new. Like, of course, DJing is what I'm doing right now. It could be the guitar tomorrow. It could be, I might pop out look, Ty's sewing now.
Like, she crocheting too.
Like she crocheting stuff now. Oh, there goes Ty. She's skiing now. And now she's a tennis player. And I think that we are, or not us, but the generation behind us. We're the generations that are like, we don't have to have that 30-year-old job and we're not going to get the pension. I don't know what's going to happen when we retire, sis. And we ain't going to have, who knows? We just going to be working until the day is done.
That's why we have to infuse our joy within
everything because
I don't, right?
Social Security is gone. I don't know what we're going to do about retirement. But we are literally the first generations that are not glued down to a desk chair for 30, 40 plus years waiting to retire. So with that being said, you don't have to do that one thing for the next 10 years. You don't have to do the next thing for the next 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do it for however long your mind says. And when your mind says, I want to try something different, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I think something that will come up for people is the financial security. Does that ever scare you? Like, do you ever have limiting beliefs and thoughts, especially around money?
To be honest with you, I just don't think about it.
Mm.
If I'm honest, again, I'm gonna work till the day is done. I'm a hustle to something until I can't anymore. I don't know what that is or what that looks like, which is like maybe I'm somewhere writing books somewhere. You know, maybe podcasting is here to stay, and I'm podcasting it out till the end of the day. I honestly have no idea. It's one of those things where, like, I should think about it. Probably should figure that out. And I do the thing, I save the money and things like that. But it's just not something that we are thinking about or even talking about, if I'm honest.
What would you say you're extremely opinionated about? Is there anything
Nothing.
right now that
Nothing.
there's gotta be something that you like your friends know, like, here she go with that again.
I
It's
just,
gotta be.
I have come to a point in my life, and maybe it's because I'm getting closer and closer to 50. I don't care what y'all do. I don't care what y'all do. And sometimes, I talked about it like last week when they were talking about the whole Carly Russell thing. And every now and then I'll insert my cultural opinion. I used to do it a lot, but then I stopped because I'm too engulfed in my own thing. I'm too engulfed in progressing my needle forward and trying to figure out again what I'm gonna do when I want to retire, where that money coming from. You know what I mean? And so, like, there's so many other things that I just am consumed with for me to be like, wow, I really wish y'all would stop doing this, or I really wish this would stop. You know what I mean? And so I literally, and I kind of was like that before, but the older I get, I literally do not care what y'all be doing, like, at all.
Do not care what y'all be doing.
I don't care what y'all be doing at all. If
That's
you
a
like
line.
it, friend, I love it.
Yep. Keep doing it. Yeah.
Is it making you happy,
Right.
friend?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a way to alleviate a lot of unnecessary stress, because sometimes we're so concerned about the people in our lives or the people around us and stuff that we are opinionated, and maybe if we were a little less opinionated, we'd be less stressed.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm not stressed, but I be stressed over stuff that I can control, which is the
Right.
other thing. Like, I got to figure out where my money from, how I'm going to get a car, how I'm going to get this, how I'm going to do that. Like, I want a new car right now. So I'm like, let me see if I can save some coins so I can get me a new car. How many
Yeah.
gigs do I got to take? You know what I'm saying? And so I think, to your point, if we spent more time, again, looking in our lanes, trying to figure out how to make our grass better or greener or whatever, versus looking at, what kind of grass she got over there? Oh, she got flowers over there. Oh, look at that car. Like, I'm solar. I'm focused. I'm right here. I'm right here.
Yeah. Speaking of gigs, so you planted the seed for DJing in 2016, right? I'm gonna say you officially got started in 2020, because you didn't really think you were getting started, but you were getting started, right?
I
You
did.
were on your way somewhere and maybe didn't know it. How does it feel now to be fully immersed in the space as a DJ and being booked and
The
like,
camera can't see, but I literally have like chills because every time I think about it, I'll be like, hey, you did that. Like,
you sure did. Yes.
Like, really. And like, and I've said it before on my platforms, DJing has been just a thought, right? Since I was a kid. Since I first saw Juice, I was like, oh my God, I could do that. I could be that. But like, what if it was a girl up there? Da, 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 like, that was my first thought. And I kept that thought. But of course, back in the 90s, DJing was an extremely expensive hobby to have, between buying records and just turns. Like, everything about it was expensive. And so if you didn't have no good parents, and I had good parents, but not the ones that was not wasting, but like investing money in that on a skill that may or may not come into fruition. And so I was like, whatever. And then when the time came back around, that was a Forever 21 like event, or I don't even know why we were there, but we were there for Forever 21, and I was there, playing around on the turntables, and I was just like, what if I was? Da, 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 da. And I took a picture again, which is why I think it's such a valuable lesson to document your life, even if you're not like an influencer. I think it's a really great practice to document your life, because you can go back and see how long something took, how short it took that you actually said something. I use my Instagram stories a lot to kind of, to your point, plant those seeds, because I want them. Manifesting is a thing for me. Like, I know if I say it, I can believe it, and I can do it in that order every single time. And so again, DJing was just something. I'm checking stuff off my lists. We're gonna 2020, and crazy enough, 2020 just happened to be the year that we shut down. But I took the class before the pandemic. So the class was from January to February, the end of February, and 2 weeks later we shut down in March. And so I was like, well, I have nothing else to do, so let me buy some equipment and figure out these YouTubes and continue on to see what I can do. And then Twitch became a thing. And then so I get on Twitch, and now I'm DJing on Twitch. So I'm the bedroom DJ, as they call it. And because I tell people all the time, like, I am the living proof that 10,000 hours of practice works. Because I literally practice, no lie, kid you not, every single day, at least 4 to 5 hours every day from 2020 to 2021, because I had nothing else to do. We were inside. We weren't going anywhere. And then when we could go somewhere, it was Scary Spice outside. So I still wasn't going outside. Yeah, I wasn't going outside like that. So I literally practiced every day, 4 to 5 hours a day, every day for almost 2 years. There's no reason why I wouldn't be good. There's just no reason. There's no reason. And so I put in the time. That's it. And so when 2021, we got out of Scary Spice season, when the doors opened up for real, I said, well, let me go outside. And my first gig was a festival opening up for DJ Jazzy Jeff. And I was like, wow. All right, then I don't never question God. I don't know about y'all, but I don't never question God. So if that's the stage you want me on. Right. Let's go.
How did the gig come about? Like, we can't skip over that. How did the gig fall in your lap? DJ Jazzy Jeff. Like, what?
Literally, the production company found me on the internet, because I had been posting mashups or posting, me practicing and using hashtags. And so they needed a DJ in the DMV area. And the person literally hashtag DMV DJ and found me. And of course, because I have numbers, I have 100 and however many thousand followers, the numbers go up, right? And so, of course, I'm the first one that comes up. I'm good. And so he reaches out, and I'm like, sure, why not?
Yeah, I love it.
Why not?
Okay, so tell us what you thought of the pay for this gig. Was it more than you expected or less than you expected? We got to manage expectations here.
Should get to the nitty gritty, guys. In general, like, coming from influencer to DJ, it literally is like influencer to DJ, because DJing, you start at the bottom. And even in that
people
work...
can't see you. So your hand motion symbolized...
Influencer at the top.
Okay.
DJ at the bottom. So I had to start at the bottom. Okay. But I'm, your girl ain't stupid. So I had to leverage some things. And oftentimes, especially in the beginning, now I can say it's talent. But in the beginning, I leveraged my social media a lot to get more money, because I'm like, I'm at this event. One, people have followed this journey since 2020. So now they're following the journey of me outside at gigs, and they want to see it. Right. So the minute I post it, the minute I say the flyer is, they're going to come out. And so I'm saying to promoters and event people, like, I can't take the 500, because I also have to charge you another 1,000 for the social media that I'm about to do. Like, and that's cheap. In the land of influencer, that's a steal for y'all. In case you didn't know, that's a steal when we talk about real influencers who are making real money, who have real engagement, who can really move numbers and have a real ROI for their customer, or their client rather. That's payday for people. You know what I mean? And so I had to be smart about it, and like, this little bit of coin I'm not gonna be able to take, but I can do it, and I can also post the flyer 3 times. Like, I had to go back to like my influencer part and add in that part in there.
Everything builds.
Everything.
Yeah, if you
everything.
didn't do some of the influencer work and have that behind you in your back pocket, you would know how to negotiate better for yourself
Absolutely.
with the DJ stuff.
Because the,
Yeah.
the the DJ world is still very much like you just got here, so you got to pay
Yeah.
your dues. You may or may not be good. This,
Mm-hmm.
even if you are, it's very much like you should be getting the $300 because you haven't been doing it for 8 years.
Right.
And I really bust open and was like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. You did your hours. And okay, talk to us a little bit about your hours. Was there any time where you felt discouraged, frustrated about just like learning the craft? Because people get intimidated by learning something new, because it's like sometimes it feels like you hit a wall sometimes when you're learning something new because it's just so foreign to you. What was that experience like for you?
I experienced that every time. DJing is such a level based career because there are so many stages of it. And so, of course, I know the mashups, I know how to do blends. And so now I'm going back to learn scratching. I showed it on my Instagram today. Girl, I am tired. My brain said, get somebody else to do it. We don't want to do this no more. We learned all the things that we're supposed. Girl, you are 47. You have learned enough.
That's it for today.
We are done.
Yeah.
And so yes, I still experience that, but I know that in order for me to be better as a person, I have to keep learning. Learning to DJ was more than just me learning to DJ. It really was teaching me that no matter how old I get, I always have to learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm always using my mind, I'm always sharpening my skills. It doesn't matter. And the joy that I get or got from like, yes, I did it. I
Mm-hmm.
conquered it. I successful, whatever. That joy that you get, that little kid joy, like it took me back
Yeah.
to being, the high schooler or the middle schooler that got a good grade or, pass the test or whatever. Like it takes you back to there, and we don't acknowledge enough that we need that as
Mm-hmm.
adults. Like we get to that stagnant point where we're like we're bored, we're not fulfilled, we don't know what our purpose is. And
Mm-hmm.
I completely understand. I have a friend who's a scholar, and
Mm-hmm.
all that means is that she gonna be in school forever. She loved to learn. She loved to learn.
Right.
She got 4, 5, 6 degrees. She loved to learn, and
Mm-hmm.
and I can learn so much from her because it just keeps your mind sharp. Like you're just again constantly learning something, constantly getting fulfilled from new things, and maybe you pick up something you don't like that, you pick up something else. Like we put too much weight on only knowing one thing or only being one thing or one type of person. We're so multidimensional. It's no reason why we wouldn't learn that way or we wouldn't experience joy that way or it's
Mm-hmm.
just the way we think about straight lines in life is wild because there's nothing straight about this life.
Nothing.
There's
I don't know
nothing.
why we're taught that it is, or
I have
how
no
it gets
idea.
embedded in us that it is, because it never is. And I think that is what really f's with some people's mind, is that they are living in expectation of walking this straight line, and it doesn't happen,
It
and then you
doesn't.
shook because you're
It
like,
doesn't.
I'm not
And
doing what I'm
well,
supposed to
and
be doing.
a part of me believes that I've been fascinated about the conversation about like how people become millionaires, like millionaires versus regular people. And I think there's so much to being a millionaire that people don't tell us. And a part of that, as you know, is failing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of millionaires have had 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 businesses before they got to that one business that jumped off and gave them lots of profit, right? Like they've tried and tried and tried again. But with each try, they've learned something different. They've implemented something else. And we could stand to learn a lot from just that process of failing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so of course, DJing came pretty, not, I'm gonna say easy, but I had an easier path. But I'm scratching now and I'm like, I'm gonna die.
What is scratching for people who
Scratching
don't know?
is so scratching is like it's just another skill. I think of it as like the hot sauce on top of a transition or like a blend. And so you might scratch a song in. It's like this little scratch battle. Like I can just think of like Juice. And
Mm-hmm.
they were in the battle and he's doing this to the record. Sorry, he's moving the record back and forth, making the
Mm-hmm.
needle make this scratch sound on the needle. And so that's scratching. But with scratching, there's so many techniques. There's so many different types of scratching. There's scratch patterns. Like it's an intricate skill to learn and have. And so pray for me, please.
Yes, we will. I'm just sitting here listening, like, wait, what?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But I mean, even I don't share it a lot, and I said I was gonna do like a TikTok series, even with like the blends and the mashups that I do. For me to get to the one that y'all liked and sounded good, there was 20 other ones that sounded horrible before that. Like very rarely do I pick two songs and they're like, boom, magic.
yeah. So it's a trial and error
Yeah,
process.
yeah. You like what I hear in my head, like I might hear a song and I'm like, oh, it might be good with this beat. And so I'll try it. But then the beat be like, not me, get somebody else to do
We
it.
don't go together.
I'm not the beat for you.
Right.
And so I'll go again. And so sometimes it might be me 3 or 4 hours later. I'm like, yes, now I got it. The more I do it, obviously, the better you are with anything. But I think, which is also why I love sharing, because you get to see the process, right? You get to see that it isn't always the first time out. This is 100% amazing. It might be the 80th time or the 100th time, and I think we can stand to learn a lot from just the process of things.
Absolutely. A lot of times we just don't get to see the process. And then sometimes we say we want to see the process.
We
But
don't.
then when the process gets too
Nope.
cumbersome, we're like, yeah, I didn't really want to see all that.
I
Skip.
didn't want to see all that.
Or you get
Actually, never mind.
discouraged. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you're like, oh, that's a lot. I can't even imagine myself doing all that. But I really appreciate you saying how many takes and tries it may take you to get to that one that sounds fire, because I know I was saying to you before our conversation started, I'm just so proud of you and I love your mixes. And I'm like, oh, she did that. Oh, I like the way. But I didn't think about how many times it may take to get there. Here I am naively thinking, Ty is good at this.
And
She got this.
And she is. She
Because I'm
is.
thinking this your first time. This your first.
She-
You said these
she-
two songs go together.
Yeah.
I'm put it together. Done.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that's the language change, right? Like, yes, I am good at this, but it took me a minute to get here, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think the idea that's bad is that she's good at that means she instantly got it.
Right.
And that's
Right.
usually never the case. Like, she's good at this, or he or they or whatever is good at this because they've done it 1,000 times. They've tried 1,000 times because they failed and they got back up and they did it again. I know lots of people who try mashups and be like, oh, I ain't doing this no more.
This is not for me.
I
Yeah.
can't hear it. It don't feel right. I don't understand. Never mind. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I was like, I can figure this out. I know I can figure this. That's the other thing that I'll share. I'm the kind of person, always was, if you ask my mom or my dad, they would tell you, I'm going to figure it out. I'm never going to be like, I might put it down because it's frustrating me. And like, I'm like, I'll come back. Same thing with scratching. I tried to learn scratching when I first started. It was a lot. I think it was a lot because I was already still learning to DJ. And so
Right.
learning how to DJ and the other advanced skill, I was like, let me put you to the side. And so now that I've kind of, I'm kind of advanced in DJing, I know a lot of things. I'm like, let me go back and pick up scratching again. I'm never going to be like, I can't do that. That's that. Except that to me, a dance.
I looked at that and I was like,
That
I'm not
thing
even gonna
is
try.
chaotic as hell, and I'm not. I refuse. That's the one thing I'll be like, count me out on this
Yeah.
conversation.
I was asking myself, did Tamia actually make this up?
No, I
Because this
remember.
feels very choreographed.
No, I remember she didn't make it up. I remember it came about during like the COVID season.
Yes.
And but then she did when she figured it out that someone was doing her music, she did a video to it. And so now it's like, the Tamia. But I'm sure one of them down south line dancing
Yeah.
groups or whatever made it up. It's just so many steps
So many
for
steps.
no reason. Like all
Yeah.
that twisting and turning and foot to the left and the right and back to the front.
Yeah.
Count me
For
out.
us, for a slow song too.
Yeah.
Like,
The, the craziest part, one of the annoying parts about DJing is that people will ask me for songs while I'm like turned up, and they'll be like, "Oh, can I play the Tamia song?" And I'll be like, that's a slow song, right? It's not a slow song. It is.
yeah.
It's
It really
72.
is.
It's 72 BPMs. It's right there with "Come and Talk to Me" and the rest of the songs that we love. It's the slow song, friend. It's slow jams.
So you trying to bring the night down, and I'm trying to bring the night
I'm
up.
like, we blowing the whistle. You know what I'm saying? We put your hands where your eyes can see. You know what I'm saying? Like we up there in the hundreds. You talk about, can you play the Tamia line dance? Not right now.
Like,
Towards the
what
end of the
party are
night.
you at? Are we at the same
Friend.
party? Because this
Towards
is
the end of
not-
the night, friend. Later.
When we simmer down.
When we simmer
Yes.
down, friend.
Okay, so a lot of people don't know, but there are some of your core people who know that you came from largely like this influencing world, right? And you slightly mentioned it. How does that transition now? People are probably still thinking that you are just an influencer still and you have not added DJ to your back pocket. How has that transition been?
It's a little bit of both, and I feel like I'm still transitioning. I don't know if I'll ever, like, I think it'll always be a gap, right? Because the two worlds are so starkly different. Like, I have lots of people who know I influence and don't really know that I DJ like I DJ. And then I have new followers who only think I DJ. Like, I did a story one time and I like went back. Like, I'm pulling press, I'm pulling magazine articles, all the campaigns I'm in. Like, I'm flexing, right?
Right.
And people are like, oh my God, I didn't know that you did all this. Da, 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 da. I'm like, I did.
I lived
I
a life
did.
before you knew me
I
as a
did.
DJ.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. So I
Yeah.
think there'll always be a gap just because, again, they're just two very different worlds. And I have a gambit of followers, again, from people who've been following me since 2013 to people who just found me, because of the mashups that I do. So it's always going to be a gap.
What has been your latest aha moment? Because you drop a lot of good knowledge on your podcast. And I'm curious, has there been a recent moment that you're like, or I didn't think of it that way, but now it's all making sense?
I mean, I think my latest aha would be that I'm just never going to have it all figured out. I'ma always have an aha. Right? No matter how small or how big, I talk about it a lot on the podcast. Like, it is truly a journey and not a destination. The minute that we stop growing and learning and like, oh my God, I can't think. The minute that we stop doing that, you have gone up yonder. Your time, your number was called. Your time is up, friend.
Right.
And so I talk about it a lot on. I'll probably do a podcast soon, but like it's just this idea that, and because healing is so hard, right? Like, learning to unlearn things, learning new things, learning how to be better, right? When there's so many opportunities to choose to be petty, to be angry, to be, like, you have so many opportunities to be the negative. So when we think about like being better, it's a constant task. It's just like choosing joy or choosing happiness, choosing to be better in every single situation is a task, and it can be hard. And so it's the journey that we go on every single day. That's the aha. I'm gonna forever be like, let me choose to be better today. Let me not cuss them out today, because I'm the wellness girl. I can't be on the internet cussing people out, even though I be wanting to.
Being the wellness girl, like, how does that feel? Like,
Girl, sometimes I want to take it off.
You're gonna take off the wellness cape.
I want to take off the cape and the stuff, like, because people really do. When you start to talk about wellness, people really do think that it's almost like a holier than thou thing, right? Like, people start to think, oh, she could never have a bad thought or have a bad day. Like, she has to have it all together. Like, I tell people all the time, I am learning with you. My podcast is literally me venting about something that I learned. I learned this. Here are the steps I took to get here. Here's what happened. Hope you do it too. God bless. Right? Like that's all my podcast is. I'm not ever. That's why I say I'm the hype girl. I'm hyping you up. I'm getting you ready to be well. I'm not ever going to say that I'm the expert in this, because I am, again, still learning. I ain't got a near degree.
Figuring it out. Yeah.
I am figuring it out. But people really do charge you with this idea that, okay, so she's talking about wellness. She can't possibly get nasty with these people who get nasty with her on the internet. Oh, but I can. I'm gonna apologize for it, because I probably shouldn't. But this idea that certain people, even like with celebrities, like I saw recently, like they was throwing water on Cardi and throwing something else at Lotto, like just this idea that those celebrities are not gonna say something back to you or them, like, that's wild. We're human beings.
Yeah.
We're
I don't get it.
all human beings.
Yeah. Oof, yeah, a friend and I were just talking about the Cardi situation. And by the time you guys see this, it'll be long gone. Who knows? She might be in court by then. No, but I was saying, I was like, what would possess you? Like, who would want to be known as the girl who threw the water bottle at Cardi B? Like, do you know her personally? Like, what did she ever do to you?
It's just,
I
I
can't.
don't.
It's beyond me. I was like, huh?
I'm confused.
Yeah, same. Okay. What I hope you're not confused about is what apps you've been using lately. You mentioned before that you are like the early adapter, all of that. So we want to know, what apps are you using? What apps do you rely on? Even if it's not a new app, like clue us in what's on Ty's phone.
So Instagram obviously is my first love. Like I'm gonna always go on Instagram. I love Instagram stories, reels, all that kind of stuff. I use Twitter for news, like the election that they what's the guy, the orange guy, that guy,
Yeah.
and the indictment, all that kind of stuff. When I got wind of it, I know I can go to Twitter and I can find the articles. People have shared it, so I use that a lot for like news. I post sometimes, but mostly I use that for like news. And like if there's an award show, it's really good to like have a collective conversation on Twitter. I'm hoping that Threads will pick up where Twitter is, because I'm really over Elon Musk. But Threads is also high on my list. It's really sleek. I like the way it looks. It's really easy to use. And then, of course, Facebook is just where the old people are. It's where conversations go to die. Like, I'm sure they're still talking about Cardi B over there. They'll be talking about it for weeks to come. And so what else? There's a black-owned app that came out right before Threads. It's called Spill. I really tried. It's more like a meme-based app, and so like when you share your thoughts, you share it with a meme and then type stuff, that kind of thing. I tried, but I'm still rooting for everybody black. Like I still have it on my phone, but I won't lie and say that Threads didn't win my heart, just because it is very, it's simple. It's just some text, that kind of thing. And all the other things on my phone are like editing stuff. Like I do have a lot of things for like
people want to know, what are you using for editing?
So like when I edit my pictures, there's an app called Tezza, Tezza. I use that. Then there's Lightroom. I use CapCut. I learned about CapCut. Oh, how did I forget about TikTok? I use TikTok. I watch TikTok like it's a movie. I like.
You are thoroughly entertained by TikTok.
It is some really entertaining people. Like it's legit the way they be doing like the jump cuts and like all of these high level type of editing skills that people have. Like it's very entertaining. And so when I usually don't scroll during the day, but like when I go get in the bed, that's my scroll until the phone hit my face. So I'm on TikTok. But through TikTok, I learned about CapCut, which is an editing software similar to like Lightroom or somewhere where you can edit photos or also edit videos. And so I use CapCut. What else is on here? And there's Canva. Yeah, I think that. And then I have Discord. Discord is for the kids. I'm telling you, I'm an early adopter. I have a Discord because when I was on Twitch, they used Discord to talk either while or after you're streaming. And so I did a Discord during the Twitch, and so now I still have it. A part of what I do on Discord a lot is talk to other DJs. We'll either share songs or ask like, I was at this gig and this happened. What could I have done better? Just like a little DJ community. Because I don't think that there is, like, I'm in a lot of DJ groups, but a lot of them are, sadly enough, hosted by men who really do lead with their ego a lot. And so it's a lot of like, look at me and I did this. Blah, blah, blah. I can go to Instagram and do that. I got, again, 100,000 people over there that can hype me up. I'm over here to get the real deal with the real knowledge, right? And so I was like, let me create my own group so that I can kind of tailor to the questions that I want asked that I know other people might want to. So
Discord is definitely good for community. I don't use it like but when I was introduced to it, it was by way of community. Yeah. Well, this has been so good. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Absolutely.
We know you don't chit chat with that many people, so your presence is appreciated.
Don't nobody be asking me. That's the only reason why I'm talking about it.
Y'all better start asking Ty so she can chit chat with y'all more and let y'all know what's going on, what's the tea, what's the goodness.
People always ask me, can they be on my podcast? And I'll be like, I don't even have people on my podcast. Like, I don't.
They don't know because they don't care because they just
They-
want to be on somebody's podcast. Yeah. Yeah.
The amount
they
of
do it to me
emails
too.
that I get from people that are just, you get those too?
Oh, yes. All day, every day. It's
Oh,
very frustrating.
it is wild.
Yeah. And then what's even more frustrating to me is when someone pitches me a person to be on my podcast that is in a similar vein of me, and then they tell me that that person also has a podcast, but nowhere in their 3 to 4 paragraphs do they ask me to be a possible guest on that person's podcast. Maybe we do a swap. It never comes up, and you know what? I don't bring it up either.
I just don't respond. I usually just delete it because it can get, to your point, it'd be like it'd be at least about 50 every day of emails from people who want to be on the podcast. And I'm like, is this what y'all doing?
Yes, it is. It's very much so what they're doing. And there's somebody back there with a battery in their back telling them to do it. That's another conversation.
Why? But that wasn't what I thought you were going to say. You saw me listening all intently. I was like,
Right.
no,
Tasha,
hilarious.
thank you so much, Ty. This has been a
Absolutely.
great conversation.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate you. Love you always.
Yes, you too, boo. And you guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, be well.